Hello English for Secondary School Unit 1 Part 2 Listening and Reading prepared by Mr. El-lithy.
Unit 1. Writers and Stories. Listening Text.
Student's Book, Unit 1. Listening. Exercise 3. Listen to an interview with a writer and answer the questions.
When did you start writing? I first wrote stories and poems when I was at primary school.
What was the first thing you wrote?
When I was 7, I wrote a poem which won second prize in a national competition for school children.
When did you start writing stories?
When I was at university, I wrote short stories for a student magazine. My head was always full of ideas. While I was finishing one story, I was planning the next one.
Didn't you get confused?
Not really. I used to write very quickly. I finished most short stories in 2 or 3 days. As soon as I had finished one story, I started the next one.
Do you still write like that?
No, I don't write short stories now. Now I only write novels. They take much longer.
So how do you write now? Do you have a fixed routine?
Yes, I write from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, with a 10-minute break for coffee at midday.
Do you use a computer?
No, I'm old-fashioned. I use a pencil and paper. I used a computer for a few weeks, but it gave me a headache. So first I write something by hand, then my secretary types it onto the computer. My publisher insists that I send everything as an email attachment.
How many words do you write usually?
I write 1,000 new words a day for a week. Then I spend 2 or 3 days checking the week's work until I'm completely happy. I'd changed my last novel 6 times before I was happy with it.
Do you show other people?
No, not until a novel's almost finished. Then I give it to 2 or 3 good friends and ask them for their opinions.
Do they ever tell you they don't like what you've written?
Yes. Last year, both of the people who read one of my books said they didn't like how my story ended. So I changed it.
What did you think of the ending of your last story?
When I finished it, I thought it was my best ending yet.
That's very interesting. Thank you for talking to me.
You're welcome.
Student's Book.
Didn't you get confused? ألم تكن ترتبك? Do you have a fixed routine? هل لديك نظام يومي روتين ثابت؟ I take a 10-minute break for a coffee at midday. آخذ استراحة لمدة 10 دقائق لتناول القهوة في منتصف النهار. I am old-fashioned. I use a pencil and paper. أنا من الطراز القديم فأنا أستخدم القلم الرصاص والورق. My secretary types what I write by hand onto the computer. سكرتيرتي تكتب على الكمبيوتر ما أكتبه أنا باليد. My publisher insists that I send everything as an email attachment. يصر الناشر الخاص بي على أن أرسل كل شيء كمرفق بريدي إلكتروني. I write an average of 1000 new words a day for a week. أنا أكتب في المتوسط 1000 كلمة جديدة في اليوم لمدة
Interview. Haki was one of the pioneers of modern Egyptian literature. As well as being an important writer, he was an expert on Arab culture. Yahya Haki was born in 1905 in the Sayyad Zainab district of Cairo. He graduated in law and worked for a short time as a lawyer. In 1929, he began his career as a diplomat and he worked abroad for more than 20 years. The time he spent in France, Italy, Turkey and Libya gave him experiences he later used in his writing. At the same time as he was working, Haki was also writing stories. His first short story, published in 1925, established him as one of the greatest short story writers of the Arab world. Haki always wanted to help poor and disabled people. He had to go to hospital after an earthquake in Cairo, but gave his bed to a poor person who he thought needed it more. In 1955, he wrote a collection of short stories about the poor and the disabled which won an important prize. Another of his stories, The Postman, was made into a film.
Haki wrote in a new way about Arab society and customs in the 20th century. Haki was also interested in the Arabic language and he developed a new style of writing which is respected today, as well as writing his own novels and stories. Haki also translated Russian, French, Italian and Turkish literature into Arabic. He was a very strong believer in the power of education and supported many young Egyptian writers. Haki died in 1992, but is still thought of as the father of the modern short story and the novel in Egypt.
ودلوقتي نبدأ نستعرض النقاط الرئيسية اللي تخص درس القراءة في Unit 1 Reading Text من بوينت، وهي عن الكاتب المصري الراحل يحيى حقي. مع أول جملة، يحيى حقي was one of the pioneers of modern Egyptian literature. كان يحيى حقي واحدا من رواد الأدب المصري الحديث. يحيى حقي was born in 1905 in the سيدة زينب district of Cairo. ولد يحيى حقي في عام 1905 في حي السيدة زينب بالقاهرة. حقي graduated in law and worked for a short time as a lawyer. تخرج حقي في مجال القانون وعمل لفترة قصيرة كمحامي. حقي His first short story established him as one of the great short story writers of the Arab world. أول قصة قصيرة له جعلت منه واحدا من كبار كتاب القصة القصيرة في العالم. حقي always wanted to help the poor and disabled people. كان حقي يريد دائما مساعدة الفقراء والمعاقين. حقي In 1955 he wrote a collection of short stories about the poor and the disabled. في عام 1955 كتب مجموعة من القصص القصيرة عن الفقراء والمعاقين. حقي wrote in a new way about Arab society and the customs in the 20th century. كتب حقي بطريقة جديدة عن المجتمع العربي والعادات في القرن العشرين. حقي was a very strong believer in the power of books. كان حقي مؤمنا قويا بقوة الكتب. حقي was a very strong believer in the power of books. كان حقي مؤمنا قويا بقوة الكتب. حقي
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.